My name is Katie Maggio, and welcome to the Level 10 Life podcast. Now, what is living a Level 10 life? Well, here you go. It's a journey one embarks on through self-discovery and transformation, guiding you to reach your highest level, your true self. So many people say you cannot have it all, but I am here to tell you that you can. So get out your favorite pen and notebook, take some notes, and enjoy the show.
Hey, we're live on yours.
Hey, we're live. We're here for the 250th Level 10 Life podcast. I'm Katie Maggio.
Jessica Rainville.
And here we are. We are in the Sonic Forge Studios in Somersworth, New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. And we are recording live. And here we are on Facebook. I want everybody to say hello, say where you're from, give us a little love.
Yes.
If you're watching this live, do 1. And if you're watching this pre-recorded after, hit 2.
Okay,
so
yes.
That way we know when you've watched this. But for right now, here we are.
Yes.
So Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I just feel so pleased and just so fortunate to be able to have this ability to be in the studio today. So Sonic Forge Studios is now the official Level 10 Life studio.
Yes. And it's also the official studio of my podcast, Chris Podcast.
Yes. So we both are podcasters. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Let's start a little bit about you. I want to hear, because yours just came out. So
yes.
Jessica just started her new drama series, which if you haven't listened to it, I binge watched it the other day and it is unbelievable.
Thank you. So it comes out every other week. It's called Chris Podcast. It is an audio drama that is it's based on a true unsolved cold case. So it's a fictional crime series with kind of like a little bit of a true twist to it. And you know, actually, I think I was on your show one other time, like when I was doing the fundraising for it. So like, it's finally out. Like, I can't believe it.
It really surprised me. I wasn't sure what to expect when I listened to it, and I was driving. I can't even remember where I was driving, and I had like an hour and a half, and it was just perfect. And I just listened to them all, and I thought this Tuesday a new one was going to come out, and I was like, oh, I just want one so bad.
Yeah, it's every other week. And usually I kind of like, I'll put something in between, but, we're going to be a little sad for a second. I had to put my dog down last week, so I didn't really I wasn't really in a good place to do something new. Yep. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna forego this week, and we'll go back to our regularly scheduled podcast next week.
Yes. And I grew up really with that motto, like the show must go on. Yeah. But now that I'm older, I really have afforded myself the grace with things like that when it just it doesn't feel aligned. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not, because it's not authentic.
Exactly. Like, I had this whole thing where like I was going to like talk about, us doing our show together today, like this special 250th episode. And I was like, I just don't have it in me. And I'd rather not do something than to put out something that I'm not proud of. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how to go about it. And I was just, my brain wasn't there. Yeah, it wasn't there. And, today's been an excellent, fantastic day. So I'm really excited to do the show with you today because I feel good.
Yes. And well, it must be the energies, because I feel spectacular as well. So, and that's just something to really bring to light is, and sometimes people get in my head, like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. How come you're not doing more of this? And once I started getting into my own rhythm and what worked for me, truthfully, it really, it escalated everything I was doing that much more, because I wasn't having all this buzz in my head, or second guessing myself or doubting myself or really getting down on myself because I wasn't doing what other people thought I should be doing.
Right. I feel like as we go on our journey, we have to take the steps that make sense for us in that moment. And my steps aren't going to be the same as yours. It's not. even if we're on the same path, like with podcasting, we're both on that path, but that doesn't mean that the route that I go is the same as yours and that what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So you can't, it's not one answer.
Nope. There's actually a lot of answers. Yeah. And it can change day to day, too.
Yeah.
You can switch and shift as much as you want. If you're staying in the same lane all the time, as long as you're in your own lane and you're going, but if you want to switch lanes, go for it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But don't cut someone off. Okay, put your blinker on.
Or don't lose the Kentucky Derby because you kicked a horse or something. I don't know. Oh my God, that was a debacle. Anyway, I'm a big Triple Crown fan, so that was sad for me. But anyway, it was actually. Tear.
I like the hats.
Oh, me too. I just love it's so historic and just the pomp and circumstance of it and the way that, the tune in the beginning and just when they set them in, I don't know. I just love everything about it. I love it. So anyway. Yeah. Well, why don't you start? I would love to start hearing about your progression of how so you're a voiceover actor. So that's how you started. So if anybody knows, I have my JessRainville.com voiceover pen she gave me. Woo.
Yep.
So go to JessRainville.com.
Jessica.
I'm sorry. Jessica.com. I'm reading it. I'm JessicaRainville.com.
Well, everyone always calls me Jess. There's very few people who call me Jessica, so I should have just done Jess Rainville.
But still, I get it.
Yeah.
So you start as a voiceover actor, and then just start how you started.
Well, I was at work one day at my regular job, which I still work at. And I was to my friend Maureen, who's a marketing expert, she's talking about how she does all these events and whatnot. And I was like, can you just market me? I want to do cartoons. So from there, she got me hooked up with a community radio station where I did a show called Chick in Your Face with Jesse Rains. And that was my very first podcast because I would actually podcast it after the fact. And I didn't really know what podcasting was back then. I just knew that it was on iTunes and it was a way for me to let people listen to it who weren't necessarily in the 10-mile radius that the radio station broadcasts. Then, and also if they couldn't listen live because it was at 6 o'clock every other Thursday. Not everyone can listen. So
wait, was it AM or PM?
PM.
Okay. Just
PM. Yes. But the thing is, at the time, this was in, I don't know, 2012, 2013, something like that. And, internet radio wasn't, as big, I don't feel like. So, people were still listening to, CDs, I think, back then. I mean, because that was, that was a while ago. That was a long time ago if you think about
2012.
it. Holy moly.
Especially where we've come with technology.
Oh, my God, yeah. So that was how I got started. And then I started doing radio and doing overnight shows with our local radio station, the big station. And then I was also doing board op stuff. So, making sure that the baseball game stayed on and it played commercials properly, which was really boring, but fun and really bad pay. And it was a lot of time and effort. Then from there, I started doing commercials and my co-producer, Rick Coast, found me on, I want to say he found me on Backstage.com. And he had me audition for his audio drama, and I fell in love with fictional audio drama that was original work. Because when I was at WSCA, we did do audio drama, but it was the old, the old time radio plays. Archie's Christmas Shopping I was in, and 7 Waves Away and whatnot. So it was old scripts that necessarily weren't current. So from there, I was I think I kind of want to write my own. So I did. That was just I was I just want to do this. Yeah. So I'm going to. That's how I do a lot of things. I'll be I'm going to do this just because I can.
Took matters into your own hands.
I did, yeah. And
that's
And that's how I feel like that's kind of how you got into your podcast too, is you're like, I'm going to do this because I can.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, it's funny too. I didn't realize. So I don't know if you know this, but when I was a sophomore and junior at UNH, I interned at HEB for 2 years.
Yes, we've talked about.
Okay,
We did talk about
right.
that.
Oh my gosh, because you worked. Yeah,
because that's where I worked.
That's where you worked.
Yeah.
I was there just before you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, of course. And it was just interesting because I didn't realize I was going to get into this later on in life. I just saw it that I could take an internship for these credits, and they were hiring interns, and I was like, yeah, that seems like a great, like the description, like host parties, host events, host new, bands. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, we had an unbelievably fun time. And my original job, which I had to do every day to go in, was to splice in the commercials. And that's what I had to do.
So you have experience with this.
Yeah.
With editing, with dubbing.
Oh my gosh, they're making fun of me here because I'm really not up with the studio lingo. So I keep calling everything dubbing, which clearly is not a thing. So
I'm like, that's real in anime.
I don't know where I got that from. But
well, I mean, it is a thing, just not
right now.
Here. No, it's not applicable now.
Right, not right now. So now I'm using all these other words, but
yeah. So now we've been making fun of her.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
Exactly. It's all fun. So that's right. So that's what happened, and then then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm going to start this podcast. I'm going to start this drama podcast because it's so much different than, say, the Level 10 Life podcast. You're going on and you have to make the show seem like you're in a real setting with the background tracks and the different characters. And I'm a huge fan of the podcast dramas. Oh
yeah, Tanis.
Huge. Oh my gosh, Tanis.
Yes.
For anybody
we're giving a shout out to Tanis.
Yes, Tanis. The black tapes. Love the black tapes. And the last movie, I did like the last movie. Rabbits was all right, but
I liked
loved
it.
Tanis.
But the thing that and I'm sorry, I'm going to call out Tanis and that whole group because they start these podcasts, they get us all hooked, and then they leave us hanging for years.
Where are you at, Tanis? If you're listening, Nick Silver, we want more.
Yes, we do. Please finish the series. Like, it's so good.
I know.
So I wrote the entire thing just to make sure that I had an ending. I did not want to like start this and be like, oh no, like I don't know how I'm going to end this. Like I didn't want to do that to my listeners. So everything's written. I have 2 seasons and everything is produced. So all of season 1 is produced. So I just have to upload every week. And Rick has been awesome because he'll just be like, okay, I uploaded this. I think all of them are done. Like he just has to put in the ads.
That's amazing.
And that's it. And he's the one who did all of the editing because there was no way I was doing all of that. I am not that skilled. Not that skilled. I did not want my first podcast to be a disaster because it sounded horrible because I didn't know how to do all like the landscaping.
Right. But that's also something that you understand that you're not good at, that you need to outsource. We talked about before we went on, I have a virtual assistant and she handles everything that I can't handle because there are just some things that I tried to do and it costs me more money to try to do it on my end than to pay somebody to do it. So I recognize my weaknesses and I give it to somebody who that is their strength, and I applaud you for being able to recognize that. And I'm not, if there's plenty of YouTube channels, there's plenty of ways you can learn things online. Absolutely, you can learn to do anything online. However, if you're spending way more time trying to figure something out that you are just plain not good at, like if anybody remembers the first KatieMaggio.com, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but it was a jump off. It was the beginning. Yeah. I tried it myself. I gave it my all. I tried it, but guess what? I realized where my natural weaknesses were, and I hired somebody to do it. And now I have katiemaggio.com, which I'm extraordinarily proud of. So head over to katiemaggio.com if you haven't been there. But yeah, so I understand what you're saying. So I'm glad that you have somebody that is able to do that for you.
Well, and the thing is, like, it was a huge undertaking in general. Like, it took me a really long time to record everything to begin with. Because, first off, like, stupid me, I gave myself the most lines. Like, and yeah, it's because I'm like, oh, I really want to be the lead character in this. You know, I wanted, like, I was kind of in, like, there's seasons for voiceover. And so I wanted to do this during the slow season of voiceover. So I had work to do. And it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, because editing, like, I had to cut, like, all of the lines. Like, each line had to be its own individual file. So then Aaron comes along from Sonic Forge Studios, which, hi Aaron. We're waving. We're waving to him.
He's waving. He's over in the booth over there. So if you need any recording studio, Sonic Forge Studios in Somersby, New Hampshire is the place you want to be.
Yes.
And Aaron is amazing.
And he literally saved me, like, days of work, because I would record my line and he recorded each one as its own file, so I did not have to split them.
Wow.
That was literally the headache that I was having. And part of the reason why it took me so long, because I'm like, that's, like, I have the skill set to do it. It's just tedious, boring work that no one wants to do. No. And I was like, I'm not gonna make Rick do that part, because it wasn't like I didn't just want to, like, push off the stuff I didn't want to do on him. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I did pay him for his services, because this was a lot of work. This was a lot of work, but I wasn't going to, you know, waste his time with something that I could perfectly well do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, sometimes you have to just suck it up and do it.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I did. And that's what the holdup was a little bit, plus trying to get my own stuff recorded in my own studio was really hard, because I couldn't concentrate on my lines. So coming here was seriously a godsend. I couldn't have done it without Sonic Forge.
I know. We're so thankful. I'm so thankful. You're so thankful, and it's in our backyard. This is the area we live in. So
yes,
to have a recording studio right here that you don't have to go into Boston or New York City or any of the bigger cities that, you know, abut New Hampshire. This is pretty special.
And there's a fun fact about this mill. I went to kindergarten in this mill.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. Because it's an old mill. This is one of the old 1800s mills.
Like,
New England
it used
mills.
to work. Like, it used to be a legitimate working mill.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. Yes, it's giant.
Yeah. And they're kind of creepy too.
I love it though.
Me too. Oh gosh, I love it.
Yes.
But they're old. Mm-hmm. So I don't think people realize, I get this question asked a lot. I don't think people realize, it does cost money to produce a podcast.
Oh my God.
And people always say, well, how do you make money from it? And a lot of, I know I'm not making any money right now from my podcast. It's something that I produce personally. Yes, you can get sponsorships to help cover the cost. Our sponsor for the Level 10 Life podcast and Chris podcast is Sonic Forge Studios.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! But it's definitely, it costs money to produce a podcast. Did you want to speak on a little bit of that, how you even raised the capital to do so?
Voiceover and people donating. My first Kickstarter that I did, wildly unsuccessful. But it's because I didn't really know what I was doing. And that was a time when I should have hired someone and I didn't. And then I did a second fundraiser and I was like, I'm still not going to hire anybody because it costs money to do that. And I already didn't have enough money to do the podcast itself. And luckily, like, I basically, like, paid per episode. Like, so I'd be like, okay, I have the funds for episode 1. Let's do episode 1, and kind of went that route. I had to buy like a lot of marketing materials and whatnot. So basically, I sold like a bunch of wish bracelets. And then that was actually my most popular and successful fundraising that I did. And then I did like another like Go Get Funding, which is the one that you donated to.
Yes.
And, that one, like, you didn't have to meet your goal. Like, it just gave you all the funds. So that was a successful one. I mean, I didn't reach my ultimate goal, but it got me to where I needed to be to at least, like, get where I needed to, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And you got swag coming, too, right?
Yes. So I have... the Chris podcast travel mugs that should be they're supposed to be up like a week or so ago, but I just have to get the link for it. And like I said, like, life gets in the way. Mm-hmm. Everything with Yoshi happened like kind of suddenly. Like, we knew he was at the end of his life, but we didn't like all of a sudden he was fine one day, and then the next day all of a sudden he wasn't okay, and 2 days later we had to put him down. Yeah. So that kind of got in the way of things. And rightfully so. Yep. You know what? That is life. Yep. That is life, and that is okay. It's okay.
Absolutely. You got to give yourself that grace. Mm-hmm. I say it all the time. Course correct as needed, and take that space all the time. Because if you were then, you would look back on it poorly. You'd be like, mm-hmm. okay, well, this happened, but then I didn't get to spend the last, day or so with my dog, and mm-hmm. I didn't give myself the proper time to grieve for him. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't you weren't gonna be able to give Chris podcast 100%.
No, not at that moment. To me, it was more important to take a step back from the podcast, because literally it's been my life for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. I started writing this in 2017, and I want to say like in April I got the idea to do it, and then I kind of like did a little bit of research here and there, and then I tried to write it, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to write this. I have a scene. The only scene I really had was the Tinder date.
There's some. It is pretty great. The podcast, Chris podcast. It did surprise me, but in the most fantastic way.
In the most inappropriate.
And that's the best part about it. Yes. It is actually quite inappropriate.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So that's just how I am. But that was like the only part I really had written. And so then I ended up convincing one of the teachers I know, one of the writing teachers from New York City. She directed Clueless on Broadway. Oh. And she also directed Rock of Ages for 10 years in Las Vegas.
Wow.
So she knows her stuff. And you know what? You would really love her too. And actually to even have her on the show, because her other thing that she does is called Create with another actor named Natalie. And it's like about, basically it's like the Level 10 life, where you use that space to grow. And as actors, like, we all have, we all have stuff that we have to work through, because we're constantly dealing with rejection every single mm-hmm. day. And, being told you're not good enough, or you're not right for this, you're not right for that. And you hear no more than you hear yes, or you hear nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all for me, honestly, is the most frustrating.
Yeah.
Just say something.
Yeah.
I don't actually, if it's no, it's a no.
Yeah.
Just say something.
But, like, in the acting world, like, there's no follow-up with anything, really. I mean, some stuff there is, but most things there isn't. And so she created this whole thing for that. And, she had this writing class, but she wasn't doing it online. So I convinced her to do it online so I could do the class. And she did.
Nice.
And it was very successful for me. I got so much out of it. And I think I sat down one day at my friend Liz's house. And she was drawing a picture of me as I was like, okay, like, I need to kind of hash out some more of this, this scene and I need to like figure out what I'm going to do here and how, how we get to this point. And then all of a sudden I just started writing and like the whole thing just fleshed out. It wrote itself. It's true. When they say things write themselves, like you're just the medium like doing this. You're not, it's not you. So once I did that, like I got 2 seasons written probably in like a month.
Oh, wow.
And it was probably a good 150 pages or something like that. Like it's a full like a feature-length film script.
Wow. Yeah, all in divine timing too.
Yeah.
I completely believe that, and you're going to give yourself that space for when you're also ready. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've also been trying to get into the studio together.
Oh my God.
And now it's just happened. Like it is the time, and it just coincided with everything we're doing. It coincided with me up-leveling the Level 10 Life podcast, up-leveling my brand, just kind of the trajectory that it was naturally supposed to be on versus forcing it.
Yeah.
And that's where I get frustrated sometimes. And I know other people get frustrated. And I think this is something that we all go through, is that when it feels forced, it's just not right. But then you're like, well, why? Why doesn't it feel right? Why? And you're like almost like battling with yourself. Mm-hmm. And I've just learned to just, when that's starting to happen,
turn the page over and stop reading from the script.
I was totally reading from a script earlier, and that's so not me. She's like, "Stop reading from this." I'm like, I'm not a good script reader. I'm just a good talker, And she's like, "Stop reading from the script," because I was like, "Take 99."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh."
You were doing a good job, but the thing is, like, you're looking at the script and you're like, okay, like I have to say exactly what it says here, and I'm like, turn it over, and go from what's in here. And you'll come up with something that's way better than what you wrote down. And then we finally got to the point where it was just this natural read.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do.
Yep.
That's voice acting. That right there is the epitome of voice acting, is you taking something that's written down. And granted, in most scripts, obviously for what I do, like if I'm doing a commercial or something like that, like I can't fudge around with what it says. I have to read it verbatim. But the art of it is to make it sound like you and I are having a conversation. It's like this secret, like, we're in this together. I'm selling this to you, but I'm not selling it.
Ooh, I'll buy it.
Yes.
What do you got?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's two friends.
Yeah.
Like, and when I look at a script, I think to myself, I'm talking to one person. I'm not talking to 10 people. I'm not talking to 50 people. I'm talking to one person, and that person is you, and I want you to have this.
I want it so bad now.
What is it? You don't even know what it is, and now you want it.
Oh. So for anybody who is listening to this and you want to see us live, head over to Katie Consalvo Maggio, which is now the official Level 10 Life Facebook page. So you can find me personally, Katie Consalvo Maggio, and go to
Jessica Rainville.
Yep, and you can see us live, the shenanigans that are going on right now after.
I know.
So
so what I'll do is I will share this to my Chris page. Like, I have it public right now on my personal Facebook page, mostly because, so I'll tell you this. My friend Donnie has a podcast too, and he wanted to do a podcast for a really long time, and I scared him away from it a couple of times by accident, because he's like, I want to do this podcast. What do I have to do? And I'm like, well, you need to do this, this, and this, and you need this, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh my God, I didn't realize there was this much involved. Like, I just wanted to like record on my phone and be done. And I'm like, no. No, that's not how this works.
Not that easy.
And then he ended up doing it. Well, one of the things that he always talks about is that he goes live on his page, like on his Adulting with Donnie page, which used to be the Trail Report. But people weren't watching it from the page, because it's like when you have a Facebook page, it's not as personal. So he would go live on his personal Facebook page, and then more people would interact with him.
Right.
Like, if I saw that he was live, like, Facebook might not tell me that he was live on his fan page, but when he would go live on his personal page, I would know. So that's just kind of like a little marketing secret. If you want people to know about you, like, maybe use your personal page. So that's why I chose that.
Absolutely.
That's the long version of why I
did that.
Yes.
Well, I struggled with it. I did like a teeny clip over the summer. So it was funny. I kind of almost took like the entire month of July off.
Mm-hmm.
I dripped in some interviews that I had pre-recorded. Mm-hmm. And I was really giving myself the space because I love the month of July. It's just happened. Mm-hmm. July and December just happened to be my 2 favorite months. And I said, you know what? I almost took like a little vacation. And I was okay with that. But in that space, I decided to discontinue the Level 10 Life Facebook page, which was my business page. Mm-hmm. And I struggled with it for so long. And this kind of goes back to, what everybody was telling me what I should do. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to have a business page, and you'd get a little bit of a different advice from so many different people. Mm-hmm. This marketing person thought this way, and this marketing person thought that way. And I always felt as though that my business page and my personal page were not melding actually together. I felt like Level 10 Life Katie and Katie Maggio were somehow becoming 2 separate people when I am the same person all the time. In fact, I get that compliment sometimes, and I take it as a compliment that people are like, I've never met somebody who's just always the way you are. And I'm like, I like it. But I kind of started feeling like I was disconnecting with the 2 personas, but they weren't a persona. They were just me, Katie Maggio. So if anybody's going to Katie Maggio, if anybody's going to Level 10 Life page and they're like, oh, she hasn't posted in a long time, what the heck? It's just because I just said, you know what? I'm going to just go with my personal page 100%, which Katie Consalva Maggio, friend me. I'd love to hear from you, message me. Mm-hmm. But I really struggled with that. And once I became in alignment, I just feel so much better.
Yeah.
I really do. And it was a decision I made. And, other people might be like, oh, that was foolish what you did for your business. But I don't think so.
I don't think so at all, because living a Level 10 life it's not a business page. Like, people want to see you living a Level 10 life, and they're not going to see that on a business page.
Right.
How do they know that what you're saying works?
Right. That's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
So I really was feeling I was separating the 2, and I didn't like that. So I struggled with that. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
So for people watching on my personal page, can you explain what a Level 10 life really, truly is?
Yes. So it's funny because I ask every single one of my guests what a Level 10 life is to them. And a Level 10 life to me, Katie Maggio, is truthfully having it all for yourself, and whatever that means. Really seeing how your life is, how you're living it, and really staying true to that. And if you're not in alignment with things, correcting that completely, because you can have it all. You can have a pretty spectacularly happy life if you're not letting the outside crap get in the way, fighting with yourself in your head or doing things that you just don't want to do. And it took me so long to finally learn the word no. Mm-hmm. The word no. Yeah. It's such a simple word. 2 letters. I love being on boards. I love philanthropy. I just recently won the Top 10 to Watch awards for Seacoast, New Hampshire, which, oh my gosh, I was so proud to win that. I did a whole podcast on it afterwards. But there was a time where I was joining all these different committees because I was dabbling in this and that. But I also realized what I didn't like. Not what I did like. I was finding out what I didn't like, what wasn't my passions. And then I was steering away from that. And then from what I realized I didn't like, I realized what I loved. And then from there, I was be able to invest myself 100% in the things that I loved, not just the things that I liked, and then becoming even more clear on the things I just plain old did not like. And this is just little things. I love I'm very social. I love meeting people out for cocktails and coffee and love networking events. But there were
karaoke.
Karaoke. Love karaoke. But there was a time where I was just saying yes to every invitation and scheduling my day, like, taking the weekends and, really, okay, well, if I meet this person, from 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, and, or maybe I could even, fit in a quick, early morning, networking breakfast before then and getting up and, and then as soon as I was done work, I would rush and, do all these things afterwards. And I was just realizing it just also wasn't in alignment with what my true motto was, with my level 10 life. So once I realized what it is that I loved, and I still love trying things all the time because I'm always constantly going to this, that, and the other thing. And I actually only sing one karaoke song. I'm a one-trick pony. It's "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. But anyway.
Can you sing a little bit for us of it? I want to hear it. Let's hear the chorus.
So everybody knows the chorus. I know all the words. So, Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Wata Winter, Joe DiMaggio, Joe McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Studebaker, Television, North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe, Pope Paul, Malcolm X, British politician, sex, JFK, blown away. What else do I have to say?
Yay!
We didn't start the fire. Anyway.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But I realized that to be able to live a level 10 life, you have to truly be in line with what it is and not fight with yourself. And if you truly don't want to do something, don't do it.
Right. And I feel like people will make you feel guilty for not doing something, and that is on them. That is totally on them. And, you could say, don't let them manipulate you into it. Don't do this, don't do that. You could say don't all you want to all day long, but what it comes down to is when you make that decision that you're ready to embrace yourself, that's when all of a sudden you're going to understand how to make all of that happen.
Yes.
There's a lot of don'ts in this world. Don't do this, don't do that. Do this, do that, but not everyone is the same.
Right.
So, because we talked about that earlier, like our paths, podcasting might be the same path for us, but how we get there is different. We each have our own lane. So your lane will tell you how to get to that point.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? I was thinking about, grieving recently, obviously, for, very particular reasons.
Rest in peace, Yoshi.
Yes, Yoshi. My baby boy. But for me, grieving involves talking about it. Like, I was going back and I was looking at all of the old pictures I had of him and, just embracing those good moments that I had. The other day I was driving home and his rib cage was kind of messed up. Like, I don't know, it was deformed somehow. And so when you would pet him, it had like this very specific feel to it. And the other day I was like, I miss that. I really, really miss that. And, so I kind of meditated on that for a few minutes and just kind of like imagined what it was like to feel that. And it got me through the moment. But not everyone can do that. And that answer isn't right for everybody. Right. My husband was grieving by feeling guilty. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. To like an extreme point. And I felt really sad for him. And, I tried to talk to him about it and talk him through it. When really what he needed was just to sit with that by himself. And he didn't need me trying to, give him advice on it. That wasn't what he needed. He just needed me to be present for him and understand that this will eventually feel a little bit better. We're never going to stop loving him. We're never going to stop grieving for him. But over time, grief will get better because you learn how to live with it.
Right.
And, so for us, it was a matter of trying to find what pieces fit together and how to both of us allow each other to grieve in our own way by supporting each other.
Absolutely. Definitely.
I have a hard time explaining it a little bit, so it sounds a little confusing, but I think, I think you generally get the point.
Well, I think that that's also one of those hot topics just in life. I mean, death and grieving is a very personal thing. Everybody has their own beliefs on it. Everybody has their beliefs on where you go after, whether you do or you don't. How we handle death. Let's face it. We're all born to die. We know that.
Yeah.
But yet it doesn't seem to make it any easier when somebody does pass.
You can prepare all you want. Yeah. There's no preparing.
No, there's no preparing. Nope. And it doesn't, and honestly, it doesn't matter if it is, a super close loved one, whether it's a parent or a best friend or it's your parakeet.
Yeah.
It's something that is, everybody deals with in their own way. And you can't give somebody advice on how they're going to grieve because everybody takes it differently.
And that's why I feel like, when we talk about a level 10 life, we're not talking about do this, do that. We're talking about finding within yourself and giving people the tools that they need to learn how to find that when their time comes. Because you have to be ready.
Yeah. Yep.
And
you do.
And part of life is not all sunshine and rainbows.
No.
It's not.
Nope.
It's not. I don't care who you are. You could be Bill Gates with all the money in the world. Everyone has crap days.
Oh, absolutely.
And being in a level 10 life, for me, what I feel like part of my level 10 life is knowing that those days are okay to have. It's okay to have days where you just can't even stand yourself. But I don't want to stand in those days and, and make that my norm. You accept it. You understand it. You sit with it. You give it that little bit that it needs because it feels good. Oh, boy, does it feel good.
Just roll around in it.
Yep. And then you let it go.
Yep. Take a little shower.
You know what's funny is that is my thing. Like when I need to decompress, like I like a shower. Because I feel like everything's just washing off of me.
Yeah.
Like, goodbye. See you later.
I always gotta love a good shower. It's like after camping for like 3 days and you don't shower the whole time. And then all of a sudden you get home and you're like, that was the best shower I ever took.
I've never done that. I don't nature.
Now, okay, so she just doesn't camp. And now you've learned something about me is when I go camping, I generally don't shower, so.
Who does, though? Like, there's no showers when you go camping unless you're glamping.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to call you out. My friend Wendy likes that. You're welcome. So anyway, but to your point, oh my gosh, I totally just popped in my head, is also living a level 10 life is also being present for those things so that you don't have those regrets when you are at the end of your life. And I struggled with that so long of living in the past and living in the future. I did a talk on it one time about how I was constantly wishing I had this time machine where I could, if I went into the past and fixed something, then this right now would be different. Or if I could go in the future and, wrap it up in a little bow, then things would be different. Oh my gosh, the minute I stopped with that mindset, it is a game changer. Once you just start being present, and I know that it's easier said than done, but it's actually quite easy. It's muscle. If you just really start recognizing when you are going in ahead, to be present where you're at, rather than, if I was sitting here right now with you and trying to do this amazing interview, but yet I'm thinking about what I have to do at home and the laundry and what the kids are doing or dinner or, just all these things like, I wonder if my husband's home, like just all, or, oh, what do I have to do tomorrow? Like we are not guaranteed another day. We're not actually guaranteed tomorrow. So for all that worrying, I mean, we should get there, but again, there's zero guarantee. Right. But if we're putting all our efforts into a place that we may never get to, what is the point? We need to be fully present where we are at and giving it our all. And this was also something that I struggled with for a long time. If I was, doing something and then I try very hard now, and again, it's an exercise that I encourage everybody to try, even like being in the grocery store. Put your phone away, put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, leave it in the car or something, and just grocery shop and just see be aware of everything that's around you. Because I see so many times people walking down the aisle just like texting. And of course, sometimes you need your phone for your list, your grocery list or whatever. But that's just an example of little mundane things like grocery shopping. Give whatever you're doing 100% and continue to practice that. And when you do that over and over and over again, you're going to just find it's second nature. And of course, there's always distractions.
Oh, of course.
But when you're doing it to yourself or you're trying to constantly multitask, and I don't know where that dirty rumor came in where it's like you had to be this amazing multitasker. And we pride ourselves in being multitaskers, but I found over the years, I used to brag. I'd be like, I'm the best multitasker in the world. But now I'm like,
I did too.
Like, now I need to focus on what I'm doing, and I'm just so much better. I don't want to be mediocre at everything. I want to be the best at some things.
And to that point, so my husband and I have lots of conversations about being on the phone because I definitely have an addiction. And
don't we all, honestly? Let's call a spade a spade.
I would love to not be so attached to my phone.
Yeah, me too.
But I can't help it now. It's just become part of my life, and I do need to be present for those moments. I miss out on a lot of things because I'm, on my phone. Yep.
Erin, can you actually look something up for us real quick? Is it actually like a psychological thing where people can't be away from phone?
Oh,
now I'm thinking you just gave me a thought.
Yeah.
Is it like a condition? Is it a sickness?
You know what? I think it is.
Ooh.
You know what? I feel like so professional right now. We're like, hey, Erin, can you look this up for us? Like,
please.
Yeah, like look at us go. Like,
I know.
Okay.
This is up leveling right now, folks. What is it?
Cell phone addiction?
Yeah. Cell phone addiction. That's what he's looking up.
Smartphone addiction.
Does it have a scientific name?
No, that's it.
It's cell phone addiction?
Just smartphone addiction.
Smartphone addiction. Oh,
so there's a thing.
Tension, depression, irritability, restlessness.
Oh, so I don't think our listeners can. Well, the listeners on the podcast could probably hear you, but not on the live video. So on the live video, what Erin is saying is that it causes irritability, depression, like, anger and tension. All the things that I experience quite a bit. Oh my goodness.
And plus I think it also, people living in the Instagram world and the Facebook world where everything is perfect, I think people get so derailed in their own general lives because they're like, wow, why don't I have that? Why isn't my life like that?
Snapchat filters?
Oh my gosh, the Snapchat filters.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. I you know what? I try not to use those.
Me too.
Because I don't know. Like, I don't like to wear makeup. I just started brushing my hair like 2 years ago.
I don't brush my hair either.
Oh
so
no,
it's okay.
You're down. You're down to like 10%
or
gosh, something.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm gonna walk over to my phone.
Uh
oh. Well, you know what's funny?
Oh,
I'm fine. I'm good.
We're good. We're good. We're still live.
We're still live. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Oh,
life's good.
Yep. See, look at us here with our smartphone addiction. On our live video.
But it's bad to sometimes be like, where's my phone? Oh, yeah. Obviously I'm recording on it.
Yeah.
It's funny too. I don't brush. The only time I brush my hair is when I originally get out of the shower to comb it out, but I don't brush my hair any other time after that.
No, I didn't even do that for like 10 years. I didn't brush my hair. And my husband hated that because I broke our Dyson vacuum because my hair was because I'd shed, of course, and then it broke our Dyson vacuum, and we had to have a long talk about me starting to brush my hair because I was on the way extreme side of not taking I was showering and stuff like that, of course. I was taking care of myself.
Right.
But I wasn't brushing my hair, and it didn't look bad, but I needed to take better care of it.
Right.
And, recognizing that, bringing this back to the Level 10 life, recognizing that my husband, his happiness was also a little bit dependent on me making one small change. And those things that we can change are helpful, I feel like. Now, we don't allow, at least I know I don't allow my happiness to rest solely on his shoulders. That's not fair to him for me to do that.
It's not fair to you either.
No, it's not. And I want to allow myself to be happy because I'm doing what makes me happy. If he doesn't want to do something, then I still do it.
Yep.
Even if he doesn't want to.
Same.
Independent. Independent ladies at ITEA.
Yep. Much to our husband's chagrins.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh.
It's so funny because I'll be like, you need to have a life outside of me. You have to. You have to. And he tries, but he's very shy and he's quiet. You know, oh yeah. Oh, he's quiet and shy.
Yeah.
Except for one time. He's going to kill me. I don't even know if he's watching right now because I can't really see. But
secrets are coming out.
But there was this one time.
I love it.
We had, so Nikki and Mike, so our mutual friends, Nikki and Mike, they had taken us out on Lake Winnipesaukee, like before they had their anniversary thing or whatever, I think. And it was just a few of us, and Dan got like white girl wasted.
We all been there.
Oh yeah, and that was probably the only time I've ever like really seen him not shy.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love that story. So that is not a bad story.
No, it was funny. Like, but he's very shy and quiet, so he likes to stay home. He likes to, just hang out, watch TV or whatever. And me, I'm like, I have ADD. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there. And I can't sit still. And I don't know what to do now with myself. So if I'm sitting at home, I'm sewing or I'm, cross-stitching or I'm writing or I'm on my phone. Like, I can't sit still. So he'll be like, you need to calm down. Calm. Be calm.
I don't know what that is.
No. So, but I've learned that I can't make him responsible for that happiness of mine because we are different people. Yeah. Like he's shy and quiet. I am very, very social. And when you combine the two of us together, we make like this perfect team of, he has to rein me in and I have to rein him in.
Yep.
And we do.
Absolutely. And you got to have that. It's the yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know some people like that, but I think a lot of times the opposites do attract because they have to have that. Because if not, it would be like a tornado meeting a volcano, and then it would just not ever work. No, but I totally get that in a marriage. I have something very similar. So.
Yes. Yes.
Very similar.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's pretty amazing. For anybody who's just tuning in right now, this is the 250th episode of the Level 10 Life podcast with Katie Maggio and Jessica Rainville. So definitely, and we are recording the podcast live. So if you wanted to go back and watch the Facebook Live again, do a number 2 on...
do a number 2.
Do a number 2. Put number 2 in the chat to say that you're watching it as the replay.
I'm so sorry.
Believe me, I'm the worst person. Like when somebody, like there's so many years, like when somebody says like do, like
yes.
do, I'm like do.
Yes, I'm super immature.
That is funny.
Oh my God. Yes, do a number 2 and let us know that you watched it after the fact.
Watching the replay.
Yes.
But yeah, so I just feel as though, and I can't express my gratitude enough for this. And this is something that, as you're going through the progression of your career and as you're going through the progression of different things, I think a lot of people always look at just the end game of what they're seeing as the finished result or something that appears to be completely polished. And nobody sees the struggle that it takes to get to where you're going. And even if you're looking at, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, everybody look at him. Wow, look at his fame, look at his fortune. He may not even feel as though he's where he wants to be, you know, I think we often don't realize that. And that's something that I know I'm constantly trying to up level for, you know, speaking, for coaching, for my career, for just anything that it is I want to do. And I know you're the same way because we're both very independent, strong-willed, professional women who just want to make the most of our lives, to live that level 10 life and to be the best we can be.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm sorry, I want to make the most money I can because people who make good money do great things. And for anybody who has a poor relationship with money, who's like, well, money doesn't buy everything. Well, maybe not. You can buy a heck of a lot, though.
Yeah.
But you can do so many things when you are making the right amount of money. And you can be extraordinarily charitable. You know, you can give back as well as being able to give your family a lifestyle that you truly deserve. And
yourself.
In yourself. Yeah.
Like yourself is important too.
Yep. No, you're right. I don't, you know, it's funny, start with the family, because sometimes I think of like my girls, like I want to be, and my husband, you know, I want to be able to go on vacations. I want to be able to be at a point in my life where, you know, I can go off and, you know, take 3 months off, not just, you know, a little time off, take, you know, 3 months off or 6 months off, and be able to be comfortable with that. And that's one of my goals. And I know a lot of people are there in life, but it's just, I'm sorry, you know, money definitely makes you comfortable, and you don't have to run right out and, you know, buy a, you know, Ducati or buy a, you know, Bentley or whatever. You can go around a little moped scooter. It's however you want to spend your money.
So my husband and I, we're big car people, and he's had 2 Ducatis.
Nice.
We spend all of our money on our cars, but we don't have any kids either. So that's what makes us happy.
Yeah.
But it's just funny that you're like, oh, Ducati. It's like, that's Dan's motorcycle of choice. we don't ride motorcycles anymore though. But
and that was honestly the first thing that came to my head.
It's so funny.
I don't know why.
So one thing I want to talk about, because like talking about the relationship with money is like wicked important. So we've both worked with a shaman named Shantala.
Yes.
Oh my God, she's phenomenal.
Yes,
she's
phenomenal.
amazing.
Yep.
One of the things I've worked with her on is my relationship with money, and as soon as I started like working with her on that, I started making a ton of money. Yeah, because
you open your palms to receive. Don't hold on to that money so tight.
Yeah, you have to have a flow of it.
Yep.
And like, you know, if you give too much, then you're just going to keep giving. You know, you have to have that balance in that relationship of, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do for me. Here's what I need. Okay, you know, if I want to give something, I can, but don't allow, I'm saying don't, but,
well,
but when you allow yourself to just continually give and give and give and give, you get into this pattern. And then next thing you know, that's just the habit that you're in. And you have to break that habit to get back to a give and take where it is a balance.
Right.
And like one of the things that we did was we went on a scavenger hunt around Philadelphia.
Oh.
And we bought things for money. So like we gave money gifts by using her. So like we had to buy 3 things. Let me see if I can remember. Something just because, something from the past, and then I think like something present, like from, you know, now. And I remember I found like this Chinese coin, like old Chinese money. And so I gave that to money as a gift. I gave money.
Oh, nice.
But it was old money saying like, you know, thank you for all the past, you know, wealth that I've had. And, you know, then I had like a little thing that had like my name on it. So my name, Jessica, means wealthy.
Oh.
So I have like a little card that says Jessica means wealthy on it. And then I have like a little sign for like serenity.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's
with
cool.
a lotus on it.
Oh,
I love lotus.
me too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Such a powerful flower.
It is. Oh my gosh. Where is the lotus from? Like, what part of the world does it derive in? Do we know?
Aaron,
where's the lotus from?
See, okay, this is like Joe Rogan stuff right here. Like, okay, so he's like probably the most famous podcaster at
Joe
this
Rogan,
point.
definitely.
At this point, and like, you know, he'll have his guest on or whatever. This is like the ultimate dream right here.
Yeah.
Like, podcasting just like this is my ultimate dream.
Yeah.
India. Okay,
We probably should have known that. But,
we should have. We totally should have.
But, you know, it's good to have it. But then also you don't want to be that person to be like, no, I think it's from India. And then he looks it up and he's like, actually, it's from the...
Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, whoopsie.
Whoops.
Sorry, everybody. So it's from India.
Yes.
But yeah, I like the Joe Rogan show. But no, you're completely right. And the other thing too is just the little things. I even catch myself, and I have a fantastic relationship with money in aspects of the ways that I didn't have before, such as, you know, I would see that piece of paper in my door for when, you know, the heating, you know, truck would come, and then that little piece of paper would be stuffed in my
Yep.
door, and I'd be like, oh, because I know I'd open it and be at least like $1,000, and I'd be
Yeah.
frustrated. But now I'm like, oh, well, I have heat for my home. You know, I am so thankful that I have the ability to pay for that heat that is going to heat myself and the rest of my family. You know, little things like, you know, oh gosh, you know, this medical bill came in, or why, you know, all I do is regular checkups. Why is there an extra? Now I'm like, you know what? I was able to go to the doctors and I feel healthy, and this is
Right.
where I have to pay for it. You know, just little tweaks like that in your psyche really improve your relationship with money. Or stop yourself from saying to your kids, to your spouse, to yourself, we can't afford that. No. Don't get that out of your vocabulary. We can't afford it. You know what it is? It's not a priority at that point. If you can't afford somebody, that means at that moment in your life, it isn't a priority and you shouldn't get it, you know? But don't sit there and be so, you know, negative on it. No, we can't afford that. Put that down. You know, no, maybe, or, you know, maybe we'll be able to, maybe soon that will be a priority, but no, not right now.
Right.
Or just, you know, little things like that really have improved myself. And it helps with, and this is the analogy I always use, you know, opening your palms to receive, because when you're just so closed off and you can't allow money into a closed fist. If you're like this, how are you going to get the money? If you're opening it, then you can receive the money.
Yes. I like that a lot. One of my very good friends, we were talking about changing mindsets, and she's a motivational speaker as well. And, you know, she's like, I need to wake up every morning and change how the first thing that I think about is this thing that, you know, I want to get away from. And so I was like, well, you know, she's like, I'm going to think to myself, like, I'm happy to, you know, be in my own body. You know what I mean? Like, something like that. And I was like, well, first thing in the morning when you wake up, like, you have to realize, like, that's not what you're going to think. And she's like, I know. So we were, like, talking about ways to change that mindset as soon as you wake up, because you're never going to remember as soon as you wake up. So I was like, put, like, a piece of paper on, like, the first thing that you look at in the morning. So as soon as you start to think about this thing that you don't want to think about, you see this piece of paper and you're immediately like, oh, I'm going to think about this now. And then over time, because you do it so much, all of a sudden, like, that is going to be the first thing you think about, because it's become habit.
Right.
So that's how, like, I'd really like to try that experiment myself, like, to put something up that says, like, this is what I want, like, every single day.
Yeah. And just recognizing that gratitude, you know, that's huge. It's recognizing the gratitude and not focusing on the things you don't have, but focusing on the things you do have. And again, I used to fall into that trap. Oh my God, it was so bad. I'd be like, well, I don't have this already, or I'm not where I should be. Like, where should I be? You know, where I should be? I should be right here. This is exactly right now where I should be. Why do I think I should be over there? Like, that's not even a thing. It's not even a place. It's like, do I really want to be across the street? Like it's, you know, like, no, I want to be right here.
Yes, exactly. Because we have to work to get to this point. Like, this is where we're sitting right now has been a hell of a lot of work. And what people don't see is the back end of what it does to your relationship sometimes, where you're taking away from something. To do this right now, we're taking away from something.
Yep.
But ultimately, we're also giving something to ourselves.
Right.
So it gives you that perspective of, okay, maybe I'm taking away from this, but I'm giving to this. And overall, my whole attitude will be happier and I will feel better. So I'm going to give myself more of myself and my happiness to what's around me.
Right.
And like with voiceover, there have been a lot of days where I sit there and I think to myself, what am I doing? I'm not far enough in my career. I've not done enough. I'm still not doing enough to, to get to where I need to be. Like, I see other people and what they're doing, and I'm like, oh man, like, look at how much effort they're putting in. I'm not putting in half as much effort. No, I'm putting in the right amount of effort for what I need, because at that particular time, that's what I have to give. I don't always have as much to give as other people, because that's not my circumstance right then and there.
Right. Comparison is literally the worst thing you could ever do.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And we all do it. We all compare.
Yeah.
We all compare. Yeah. We all.
Hi, Facebook. Hi, Facebook. Thanks for making me think less of myself sometimes.
Right. Like, oh, look at that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just, you can't compare because, right, everybody's circumstance, and you don't actually know how, unless you do, but generally don't know how long that person's been doing it or the struggles they've gone through. Mm-hmm. Again, it's just the point of, we just see sometimes their end result, and there was a huge struggle. Mm-hmm. Very few people have just been handed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love following the people who have had that struggle, or who have, and you don't always have to have a struggle. Like, not everybody has to have this like arduous story. Like, oh my God, I went through this my whole life.
Yeah. I had to climb, a 10-foot mountain barefoot in the snow to get back and forth to school.
Right. Both ways.
Yeah. No, that's not necessarily what we're talking about.
No. We're just talking about how we all have our own story. We all have our own struggle, and we can't compare, and we certainly can't judge. And that was another thing, too, that took me a long time. Oh, I'm sorry. I used to be a judger, and I really am just, that is, and look, we all judge a little here and there. It is avoidable. Unavoidable. But to be conscious of being negative or conscious about being mean, once you take that out of your life, other doors just magically start to open, because it's karma. It's kindness. It's what you're putting out is what you're getting. And it's just unbelievable once that mental block goes away with just this like negative cloud.
I know, because you're gonna attract the people who are on your same vibration. Like, I did this really awesome meditation about attracting your collaborators, and I'm telling you, like, it worked. Oh my goodness. Like, I have come leaps and bounds because, I've opened myself up to the possibility of allowing other people to come in and collaborate and, provide services that, I don't have the skills for, or I don't know how to do, and I want to learn.
Right.
And that's how you learn, and that's how you continue to grow. And, if you're watching this and you think to yourself, or if you're listening, if you're not watching the video, and you think to yourself, I want to do what they're doing. I want to be in that position. Or maybe you're just starting out and you're thinking to yourself, like, man, like, they have it good, or, they're doing what I want to do. You can do this too. You can absolutely do this too. There is nothing stopping you. Nothing.
There's no excuse. There should be no excuse. Zero excuse to do anything.
Whatever circumstances you're under, maybe you're in an area where you know, there's extreme amounts of poverty, or, you know, you don't have any capital to start anything. That's okay. Just work with what you've got right now in front of you and make the best of it.
Yep.
Make the best of it. That's all you can do. And recognize that this little stepping stone that you're at right now is only the beginning.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's just the beginning for you.
And just do one thing every single day to move towards that goal. Once you have that goal, you do one thing every single day, no matter how small or big it is, to work towards it. But be proactive with it. And don't get in your head to say that this isn't enough, because it is enough for what it is that you need to do at that moment. You know, like we talked about earlier, and just sometimes, you know, even if it's just, you know, sitting down and writing one page or recording one episode or, you know, volunteering for something or going to a network event or sending an email, it's endless of the things you can do. So that is something I think a lot of people struggle with, you know, and okay, here's a great example. You know, everybody sees, you know, online, like everybody, you know, taking pictures of their fancy microphones and their podcasting, because yes, everybody wants to put their best foot forward. I'm very proud of my microphones. I know you are.
Oh, yeah.
Erin sure is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so the microphone that I'm using is an AKG, and I am like obsessed with this brand. So I was like, I want to use this microphone.
And I just like it because it's a microphone.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. But I do have a Yeti. But I'm sorry, I totally went off. But to my point is, people don't realize when I started my podcast, I was literally using a microphone that I got from Staples for $9.99, and it looked like I was like in a call center. I had like the headphones with like the mouthpiece, and I was just, you know, talking into it. I had literally the I had an old laptop, had it, was, you know, I had a podcast mentor, so he actually helped me through it. But I'll never forget just the, you know, the remedial stuff that I had in the beginning. So when people see that you have all this equipment, or everybody's showing pictures of their, you know, expensive microphones, that it's very rare for somebody to have just come out of the gate with a $500 microphone. They usually, or probably started out with the $19.99 Staples microphone that we're talking into, that I look like I was, you know, talking to somebody about enrolling on a credit card or something, you know?
And I mean, like, even when you first started podcasting, you contacted me.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, like, can you give me some advice? And so, you know, I listened to some of your stuff, and I remember you're like, oh, I sit at my kitchen counter. And I'm like, oh, girl. I'm like, you got to find a quiet place. I'm like, go in your closet. I'm like, you got to go in the closet. Because I'm like, that's where I started out, too.
Yeah.
And then, like, as time moved on, like, and I learned more, I learned how to treat my house so I could get better quality. And I started out with the, you know, $20 little microphone that I got, and you know, I tried to submit my first voiceovers, and they're like, this isn't professional. And I'm like, oh, sorry, oops. And I learned.
Yeah, you got to learn.
And I had a lot of mentors throughout, and I still have mentors, and I still train. Like, I have a voiceover class tonight at 9:30.
Yeah.
You know, because it's important to continue to learn, and you can't do that if you don't put yourself out there.
Right. Constantly investing in yourself.
Oh.
I am a huge advocate of investing in yourself. And you know what? You don't have to hire a coach and spend $10,000, $15,000 on a program. You can go out and buy a book and read that book cover from cover and learn all the things out of that book from somebody. That author that you just read can be your mentor. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It can be something so simple as, I was going to say YouTube. Anything. Just do something, and don't say, well, this isn't good enough, because it is good enough for where you're at that time. And then you're going to evolve, and you're going to learn, and you're going to continue to up level. You have to constantly up level.
Oh my God. I am embarrassed. Embarrassed about my like original voiceovers. Yeah, like
so bad.
My stuff was pretty bad.
I'm sure I'm sure yours were great, but I hate when I go on to my, the podcast demographics and people go back to the first one. And I'm like, don't listen to the first one.
And you know what's funny? Okay. We actually just recently had a conversation because you called me after you listened to my podcast.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, I really wanted to talk to you about this. I really enjoyed it. And what did I say to you? I'm like, how many downloads do you get per episode?
Yeah.
And, then we started talking about that. And I'm like, I only have like X amount. And, I feel like I'm not there. I feel like I should be getting more. And what did you say to me?
I said, you're just going to keep going. The more people listen and the more people find you, it's just going to rise and rise and rise. You can't ask for instant success right away because people aren't knowing about the Chris podcast. But guess what? It's going to get out there. And the way iTunes works is it's a spider web. And the minute, other people, they do. So if you would be so kind is to listen to the Chris podcast and go on and leave a review, you can find it. And the Level 10 Life podcast if you haven't done that yet. But please. But those are ways, and it spider webs, and if you, just different ways people find it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things,
and don't get hung up on that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I did get hung up on it for a little bit, and then you brought me back down. You're like, cut it out.
Yeah.
You're at where you need to be. You just started. And, Rick, my co-producer, he's like, one of my podcasts, the Fiona Potts interview, he's like, all of a sudden, 2 years later, it just blew up. Mm-hmm. He's like, it did well, like, when it first came out, but then all of a sudden, like, it just became, like, really popular. And I'm hoping that happens for me with Chris. Like, I want this to be, like, a really popular. I want it to be like Tanis, where they have a TV deal. Like, my ultimate goal is that I want this to be a film. Like, I already have, like a director picked out and, who I want to do sound and whatnot. And you better believe I'm playing my character.
I love the last name, Jessica London.
Yes. I could thank Rick for that one. He came up with London. But, like, those are my goals for this. And I was getting hung up on how many downloads I have. And you know what? Who cares?
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, who cares? You know what? I will continue to just put myself out there. Mm-hmm. I actually paid a pretty decent sum of money to boost an ad on Facebook, and it worked.
Oh. It
worked because I invested that money knowing, okay, originally, like, usually I'll just do like $5 here, like a couple dollars here and there just to kind of like, no, I put down a legitimate amount of money.
Good.
And all of a sudden I started getting people who I wasn't connected with interested in the show, because I do have that relationship with money where, you know what, I knew I needed to get it out there, and I knew that I needed to put some capital down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So. Well, once you start leveling up and once you start going down that road, you then realize that you do need to make that investment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, yours is happening now.
Oh no. Let me see if I can.
It's gonna be our cue soon that we're gonna have to wrap it up.
I know. So Aaron has he told us, he's like, this is your, well, how much time do we have left?
Yeah, how much time do we have time? Yeah.
Forever.
I like that.
Where are we at? What?
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, that went by so fast.
Oh my gosh. So
we were like, oh, we're not going to need more than an hour.
Wow. We've been talking for an hour and 17 minutes. Holy moly.
Okay.
Well, all right. So we have forever. I love that. Forever. I've always, honestly, this is a big controversial topic, and I asked people about this, if you would live forever. I actually would want to live forever. If I could be one of those vampires in Twilight, I would.
Oh, no, not Twilight. No. I was obsessed with Dracula when I was a kid. Like, I think I was like 10 years ahead of the curve on that one, because I was so obsessed with vampires, and like everyone's like, oh, like, vampires. What are you, a witch? And I was like, no, I'm not
Vampire
a witch.
girl.
And then like, you know, like later on, I was like, no, I am a witch. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm just totally going to embrace it.
Yeah. I do like Twilight. It's my guilty pleasure, actually. So,
We all have them.
you know.
We all have them. My guilty pleasure, like one of them is Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Lindsay Lohan. Oh
we
my
saw
God.
that on Broadway.
Oh, you
We
did?
saw Mean Girls on Broadway.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
We were front row, too. We were right above the orchestra pit. Yeah.
And see, I went and saw one of my other ones is Clueless. Oh my God.
I loved Clueless. Oh, my
so
God.
I did
was
go
such a
see
great
that.
movie.
I did go see that on Broadway.
Oh.
Especially because, like I told you earlier, my writing teacher directed it.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to go see it. It was so good. It didn't get great reviews, which I think was crap because it was such a fantastic show and it was everything I wanted and everything I hoped for.
Crap. It's crap.
Yeah, it was
I love
crap.
that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. This is something that we always do with podcast interviews at Level 10 Life. And I would love to know the Jessica Rainville Golden Nugget.
My golden nugget. Oh, goodness.
What
you know
is
what
she
I
gonna
think
say?
of? Now all I can think of is like Willy Wonka, like nugget. I don't know why. That's just me. But my golden nugget is that, oh goodness, now I'm like, now I don't know what to say. I've been speaking for an hour and 17 minutes with you with no.
Wow.
Oh no, we're back to your thing. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
When you allow yourself to be directed by other people, when you let them control your life because you're afraid to take your own life back, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
Our lives are meant to be happy. And I want to see people take back their lives.
Yep.
So take back your life. You know, don't allow yourself to be manipulated into doing what you don't want to do. I've been there so many times. And yeah, there are times when, you know, they say like, you have a choice, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but once you recognize that you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, guess what? You can make changes slowly. You can reevaluate the situation and say, you know what? I really didn't like being in that position. So here's what I'm going to do to avoid that happening again. Here's what I've learned from that lesson. And then take that lesson and move forward because you're going to continue to experience it until you learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my nugget.
I love that. It's so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Take back your life. And it was funny, too, because I was thinking that within the same vein of that, it's just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As you're taking back your life, be yourself
Mm-hmm.
and stop being things or somebody that somebody else wants you to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, yes, we all have to at some point, there's a time and a place for things.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
There's a give and a take.
Yes.
Like, you know, I needed to brush my hair. You know, but like,
that.
you know, it is though. It's
Yeah.
if I could do that one little service for my husband, why not? Was it hurting me? No. Did it make him happy? Yes, because even though we rely on ourselves for our own happiness, still what you do does affect other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be conscious of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope, you do. You
There's-
have to be aware. You know, I think awareness is another thing that is essential in living a level 10 life, is being aware of how other people are too. You know, if you're constantly bulldozing over people, you can be, you can be assertive, you can be strong, but if you're bulldozing over people and you're never making that concession of compromise ever in your life, you just naturally can't live a level 10 life.
No.
It's impossible.
No.
You know,
can't.
you have to make that. But also don't concede where it's going to make you unhappy. There's the balance.
Yeah.
You know, if you're making concessions that you're just plain unhappy, like one day, like, but then if you were just like, Dan, I hate brushing my hair. It's making me lose sleep at night. Like, then he might be like, okay, Jess.
I found a happy medium. I brush my hair when I wash it.
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah. I don't wash my hair every single day.
No, I don't know.
Especially because I got all these fun colors.
Yeah.
And so that was, you know,
there
we made that compromise. I'm like, I can't do it every day, but I'll at least try.
Right.
And that made all the difference in the world.
Yep. Perfect. If I brushed my hair every day, it would become this giant afro of a hair because I have a lot of hair. I would be a poodle. I have so much hair. Oh my gosh, my hair. Well, Jess, you know, I think this again, I know this is a dream. I'm just so thankful. Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
You know, you're going to be seeing, you know, now it is the official studio of Level 10 Life and for Chris.
Podcast.
So we're just so pleased and happy to be able to be here. But is there anything you'd like to leave the audience before we wrap up?
I just want to say thank you for having me on for your special 250th episode.
250.
This is a huge honor
Thank you.
For you to want me to do this with you.
Oh, gosh. You've been extraordinarily gracious because she's also the voice of my extra and the commercial special bonus intro extra.
Yes, that's what we called it.
Yes, she's also, you know, has helped me leaps and bounds through this journey as well. So it's only natural that you should be here. So.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. We've definitely given each other so much to continue on our paths.
Absolutely. And who knew that we'd also kind of be in this same space at the same time, and finding out that we both worked at H-E-B all those years ago.
Oh my God. And the pet store.
And the pet store. Oh my gosh, the pet store. Because my family's owned pet stores since I was born. And that was, yes,
Yes, I had a ton of reptiles.
Yeah, she loved reptiles. But, you know, a lot of people here at Summersworth, this was a huge reptile area.
I know.
Oh my gosh. We used to sell, I can't even remember how many crickets a week. Like $10,000, not $10,000, 10,000 crickets a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible.
Remember when I was breeding baby mice and we got so like overwhelmed with them? I'm like, can you please take these mice? And you're like, yes, this once. You're like, but you know, we have so many mice.
Yeah, so many people bred mice and there were so many people in the area that had snakes, so they would feed obviously the mice to the snakes. But yeah, it's like, stop breeding your mice.
Yeah, so finally I had to stop.
Yeah, but it was an intervention about mice breeding.
Yes,
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
That was a long time ago.
I was 18.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I worked at my dad's store from the time I was born to the time I was 25. So,
yeah.
You know, now all these years later. So yeah, I'm so happy for that. And I cannot believe that now there's been 250 episodes of the Level 10 Life. And going back to what I was saying, like it is humbling to go back to that first episode, which actually was originally Meaningful Moments. I completely started with something different. I wanted to start a podcast with appreciating each day. So I called it Meaningful Moments. And then it evolved into Level 10.
And that's how my friend Donnie started off with the Trail Report podcast. And then it turned into Adulting with Donnie.
Adulting with Donnie.
Yeah. So if you want some inappropriate stuff, you go listen to him too.
We're giving Donnie a shout out.
Yeah.
Is there anybody you'd like to give an extra shout out to?
I mean, I've given my husband lots of props over there, you know.
Yep, the hubs. You gotta give the hubs props.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think other than that, I mean, there's too many people who've helped me. There's way too many. I'm sorry.
There are a lot of people.
Yeah. Just remember that.
Just know we love you.
We do.
Well, and again, of course, like, you know, we've talked about Aaron a million times,
Oh, yeah.
but we have to, again, thank him so much for this amazing opportunity to use Sonic Forge Studios.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I think we should just wrap it up.
Yes.
250, and let's hope to be 250 more.
Yes.
We got this. And as always, I want everybody to have the best day and just keep on keeping on. Just keep living your level 10 life. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, just go to katiemaggio.com. And I'd love to, if you need a event that you'd like emceed, or you'd like a keynote speaker, or you'd like somebody at your next networking event, I am there for you.
One-on-one coaching too.
And one-on-one coaching. Yes, I would love, 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 love to have a, I do like 60-minute discovery calls. Yep. Just to see if, our cheese flow with each other. Our cheese, not our cheese, not like our
not like Swiss cheese.
Give a number 2.
And on that note,
everybody, just honestly have the best day ever. Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to the Level 10 Life podcast with Katie Maggio. Visit www.katiemaggio.com, where you can follow Katie on all of her social media pages. You can also hire Katie for your next speaking event, or if you'd like one-on-one coaching. Be sure to visit your favorite podcast listening app, where you can leave a 5-star review and a rating. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.